I don't doubt he's a top player. He was a top player when he was developing at Liverpool. I didn't necessarily like the way he left Liverpool, but left them he did, and went to Manchester City. Yeah. For him individually, it's probably proven to be a decent move because of the success of Manchester City. And I think he's come round perhaps more to Pep Guardiola's way of thinking and pushed back and not just accepted that things don't go his way, so he's not going to do what's required of him. He's embraced the opportunity, which any top footballer should do. If they're playing for arguably the best coach in world football, you'd be a bloody fool not to. So he's now at a stage where, what's he got left on his contract?
A year at the end of the season.
Yeah. So in the best interests of Manchester City, both from an economic point of view, because now he's at the situation where if they sell him, the clock's ticking down, they're not getting top money for him.
No.
So they're in a situation where he's a good player, he's doing well at Manchester City, the replacement cost for Raheem Sterling would probably supersede the revenue they generate for selling him. So what would be the point of not putting him on a new contract representative of where he is? Now, what that looks like is the question, is it? Because the argument will be, do we have to listen to this obscenities that we're talking about in terms of player salaries? Do we have to start moving him into the £400,000 a week bracket of a player, which, I'm sorry, I don't care whether people like it or not, is an obscenity for a footballer. But it is what it is, I guess. So with that in mind, I'm not backing him for world-class moniker, but I am suggesting that what would be the point of not giving him a new contract?
Right. I mean, Micah Richards said at the weekend, Trevor, that
it's interesting what he said, by the way.
Many Manchester City fans don't appreciate Sterling enough.
But I think as an ex-player...
I mean, do they? You know the fans.
Possibly not. And I think that a lot of that comes down to, at times, his end product, that finishing touch. He does get in positions where, he does miss chances at times. And I think you've got to give him credit for that, keep on getting into them spaces. But when you look at what he's achieved... It's not a coincidence that he ends up being in these winning teams.
He's a conundrum wrapped up in a riddle, isn't he? Because people that were very critical of his England selection up until the European Championships, where he pushed it back into the long grass by scoring so many goals.
Yeah.
The club that he plays for, the fans, or a segment of the fans, are not having him. Segments of the media are not having him as a certain type of player. So can it be that everyone else is wrong and you on your little hill that you wish to die on this, terms of that he's a world-class player?
I think there's reasons for the certain doubts in certain parts of his game, but what you can't dismiss...
You say he was world-class.
I think he is world-class.
But if there's doubts in parts of his game, that doesn't make him world-class then, does it?
But if you put, say, him in a different team where you don't expect him to work hard for the team, you want him to stay up, you want end product, you don't want him to be superb technically in passing and some things that don't come naturally to him, then you can say...
But I don't think people are judging him by those standards. Pep Guardiola might be judging him by those standards, but when he plays for England and when he's played previously, he's not being judged by those standards, being judged by his individual contribution.
And that's why he was the best player. That's why he's the best player for England at the Euros.
When you make this laughable
assertion,
laughable.
It's just my opinion.
Sniggerable, then.
It's my opinion, and you disagree. You disagree with that, which is fine because you've never played the game. I look at him.
Keep pulling that.
I look at him,
low blow,
and I don't care. I look at him and I think he's durable. He's resilient. He scores a load of goals. He assists a load of goals. You look at the stats within world-class players.
I'm kind of more in your camp, Mr. Jordan, I would say.
And you can't discount
Trevor
what his pace brings
to
teams. Yeah. You cannot discount that because certain players who you might feel world-class, they're easy to mark at times.
But we both agree, he's deserving of a new deal, though.
I think in the rounds of what he will get out of a deal, which is reasonable, if he says that he's worth £400,000 a week, then he doesn't get a new deal. If it's economically viable and reflective of his real contribution, rather than this sort of Narnia world that Trevor lives in, then no, I don't think he should get a new deal.
Trevor, we love you dearly, though, but one thing's for sure.
You disagree.
Any of the doubters at Manchester City, Raheem Sterling has indeed won over.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.